Good evening, everyone. Today is Sunday, the 10th of May 2026. We are gathering here to this evening chanting to show our respect and veneration to the Buddha for his kindness and compassion. So another 6 days or less than 6 days remain. Our big event is taking place. And slowly we are preparing things and getting ready. Today we had a briefing meeting regarding the food, regarding the offering to the monks, accommodation, and plan where the tents will be and how we will organize. And I'm very grateful for all the members who are helping in whatever ways possible. This is a voluntary work, so I'm very humbled and feel gratitude for all the effort and the contributions that you all have given for this successful event to be. I cannot force anybody, and I cannot order anyone apart from asking and if they're willing to help and getting those helps in whatever ways they can. And oftentimes people, whenever they are doing things, they expect some form of rewards, a name and a fame, or a gain and a loss. But when you are volunteering to the center, if you're expecting from me all these, will be very different. So volunteering is something that we all do for the wider community, and it should be coming from your hearts, which is the reason why there are people who say that they will, and then when they are saying at that time they have a faith and a confidence they want to do, but as they go back, their family, their businesses, their jobs, and they realize that they have more in their shoulders already, then I receive calls and saying that unable to do things, which is again to say that's fine, it's okay. So similarly, there are people who have said that they will sponsor the food for the day, or a sponsor to the monks and so on. I pledged it. Many will turn and many won't turn. So it's again entirely up to each and individuals, because we're all conditioned by things, the family businesses or the business or the job, the responsibilities and the duties. Nevertheless, we have been blessed by our members that dedicating and volunteering in all means possible, not only physical help, but also intellect and also financial help for the event and also maintaining the center. And I'm very grateful for it, and I do appreciate these supports that I receive all the time. According to the Buddha, there are 8 worldly conditions known as the Loka Dhamma. These 8 are gain or a loss, so a pair of gain or a loss, fame or obscurity, praise or blame, happiness and unhappiness. So these are the 4 pairs or 8 conditions our life. When we do things, we expect to gain something, whether the name or the rewards or the praise or a happiness. And if we don't get it, if we don't, if our work is not recognized, then there is a feeling of a loss or a feeling of unhappiness arises. So that's why it is called the worldly conditions, Loka Dhamma. Another way of looking at it is also known as the worldly wind. Here, winds means that we are conditioned by outer things, like the leaf on a tree won't move if there is no wind. So it's not the leaves moving, actually the wind that moves the leaves. Similarly, it is not that we moves or we move, our mind shakes. It won't shake automatically unless there is something, the stimulations are there, or called a stimulus. Eye sees, ear hears, and so on. Then our mind sways and changes. That's why if we don't get it, what we wished for, whether the name or a fame or the praise or the happiness, then our mind sways. That's why it is also known as the winds. Another way of looking at it, that these are the qualities that holds people's mindset and sway their behaviors. And these are again the qualities that are inherent and inescapable part of the world. No one is free from it. We all are victim of it. And we all encounter them, whether we want it or not. Sometimes we think that we are doing genuinely just to sake of a help. But again, if this work hasn't been recognized, then there is feeling of a disappointment and a sadness. If it wasn't recognized, then cause not wanting to come back and do it again. Another time, a praise. If we don't get praise, then again we don't want to do it. So that's why these are the 8 worldly conditions that often swayed us. And this is not again only for the unenlightened one, it is also enlightened ones too. They also face it on the difference that someone who has practiced well will not be swayed, and knowing that these are impermanent, we should not be engaged with it. But whereas if someone hasn't been enlightened, then they don't know what is good and what is bad. They only think about the recognition or praise or something. And that's how one projects themselves as somebody in that community or in that group. Such as number one, it says labha, or the gain. That basically means desiring the material object, which is the reason why when we work certain amount of a time, we wish to have certain monetary rewards or even some other material things. That's called labha, or the gain. And this is another way of looking at it, that people are doing things to gain something material, and as soon as you gain material and you feel happy. Whereas the second one is a labha, or the loss, failing to gain those materials as one wishes, then that brings the loss. Losing those already abstain as well, that's also loss. So loss is a labha, something that you do not get, or things that you already have, you're losing it. And losing is one of the difficult one that to overcome the grief or a lament or a sorrow. Sometimes we long for it. And the third one is fame. Now this is the one that's very difficult one nowadays. Everybody wants to have their fame. They want to have agreeable position in the society, whether that is due to the rank or the authority, or with the honor or prestige and popularity, or having the large followers. So these are the different ways that are looking at it, that when we do things, oftentimes we seek fame in these ways. Want it to be promoted on a certain ranks or authorities. And that's a fame. And also wishing to gain the honor or prestige or gain the popularity. And further on nowadays, we count on how many followers do we have, even in Facebook or even any other social media. We judge by our followers, that how many followers do we have. That's a fame. And if you have many followers, then you feel that, okay, you are getting famous. So that's the third one, called fame. And whatever we do, oftentimes we wish to gain these fames. Whereas when we don't get any recognition or any fame or any promotions, then again, obviously, we feel very depressed. And so that's called the lack of social distinctions or disrepute. So obscurity, that's called ayesha. And people are afraid of that too. Particularly if you have ranks, authorities, the fame, the followers, and so on. You don't want to lose them. The moment when you lose or depromoted, then there arises the stress and troubles. And the next one is a praise or approval of actions that we do, whether they anything that we say or physically doing. We seek approval of others and wish to be praised the act that we have done. But if we are not praised, then we seek in different ways to be recognized that, and which is the reason why sometimes people pay for money, pay for those recognition and the prestige simply to gain the fame and a name. But this is again is worldly conditioned. We can't deny there's a possibility for that. And obviously the opposite is also for sure, the blame. And that's the sixth, the blame. Doesn't matter what we do, there will be a slander and a criticisms. Doesn't matter how good you are, there still will be some criticism, like even the Buddha, one who had perfected his perfections for many eons of a time, and yet in his last birth as the Buddha, there were many people trying to defame him and blame him and criticize him for many reasons. Ascetics at that time were criticizing the Buddha for following or doing new things, blaming for their loss of devotees, blaming for the loss of incomes and so on. And not only that, they were criticizing him in many different ways. Similarly, I am not free of that too. I receive quite a lot of criticism and blames. Many slanders are going as well. Gossips goes around. So these are very common in the community that we all have to face it. And obviously the next one is the happiness or unhappiness, this pair of happiness or unhappiness. We all face that. Sometimes we go somewhere and we feel very comfortable, ease of a body and a mind. And that is happiness, and having a good health, happiness. Having a mental well-being is a happiness. And these are common to us. And this is also the worldly conditions. Whereas sometimes we feel very unease with the people, unease with the community, unease with the situation. And that again causes physically strained or mentally disturbed. That's unhappiness. So overall, all these 8 worldly conditions can be categorized into two. One is that agreeable and another one is disagreeable. Agreeable is called itaramana, things desired by most of us, like a gain, fame, praise, and happiness. Everybody likes it. Sometimes may say that I don't like it, but deep down in their consciousness, it is common to all of us. When we gain something, we are happy. When we gain fame, we're happy. When somebody praises, we are happy. And the second one is disagreeable, is anitaramana. That is things unwanted by most of us. We don't like those things. We don't like to lose, we don't like to be in obscurity, and we don't like to be blamed. And unhappiness is undesirable for all of us. So that's why these two, agreeable and disagreeable things in our life, is inevitable. We all face it. That's why it is said that whether you are enlightened or unenlightened, these principles or these qualities, we all face it as we are as social beings. We have to deal with the society, we have to deal with the community. The only difference is that the unenlightened one becomes obsessed and caught up in a liking and a disliking, and then those agreeable and disagreeable conditions dominates our mind, and there arises the happiness or unhappiness. Whereas the enlightened one, they know that these are the conditioned, worldly conditioned, and have a clear understanding of the truth about this, that they reflect on how these conditions are flickering, how these conditions are not for permanent and it's changing, and these oftentimes creates the unsatisfactory. So understanding these conditions are changing or change, then they become neither infatuated by these agreeable and unagreeable or disagreeable objects. They maintain their mind absolute in an equanimous state. So they won't delight in it, and they won't reject it. So this is known as one of the highest blessings that one could attain in our life. The moment when we are above the worldly conditions and still happy and able to keep the mind in balance and equanimity, that's the blissful state one could attain. It's like the lotus flower blossoms from the mud, the dirty mud, but unattached with those dirties and unattached with the water, and it blossoms over the water. It is still in the water, but water doesn't touch it. Even all the water drops fall onto the petals, those waters simply fall away. So that is the state of enlightened beings, that whenever they come across with these worldly conditions, they're living with it, but they are not infatuated or affected by these worldly conditions. And that's our challenging task to attain. If we can develop ourselves and keep our mind in such an equanimous state, then that's the highest blessing. So though in contact with the world, but raise above it and free oneself. So this is the worldly condition, 8 worldly conditions, Loka Dhamma. We got to be very mindful of that and always aware that the task that we are doing, what is it behind our intentions? So if we are mindful of that, then obviously we can free ourselves. And mind is not grief, dusts and insecure. Rather, a mind is not shaken and a griefless, dustless and secure. So this is the highest blessings. So I wish you all the best, and may you all attain that blissful state in no long time. With this now, let's do the chanting.